Jacob was a rising star, a young footballer with dreams as wide as the heavens. He was the last child of his parents, 2 boys, an elder brother, and him. Their home was filled with discipline but not faith. His father didn't believe in God, neither did his mother, and Jacob grew up under the same shadow. When reporters once asked him in an interview, "Do you believe in God, Jacob?" he gave a proud, almost careless smile. "I don't know if God exists or not, so I can't say, but what I do know is this: my success is the product of my hard work, my training, and my dedication, not some God." Jacob won award after award. His picture was on billboards, his name trended in sports headlines. Before long, the whole world was talking about him, his talent, his speed, his golden future. His feet danced on the field, his heart beat with fire, and the roar of the crowd carried his name. "This is only the beginning," he would say, smiling as he lifted yet another trophy. But then everything changed. It was the semi-final match of the season. The stadium was electric cameras, flashing fans, chanting his name. Jacob was at his peak. Every touch of the ball showed brilliance. Then it happened. In the 67th minute, Jacob made a dazzling run, slipping past one defender, then 3 opponents closed in on him, one slamming into his side while another struck his knee, and the third slid in from the front. The sickening crack of his leg, twisting unnaturally, silenced the stadium, leaving an air of disbelief and horror among fans and players alike. Pain shot through Jacob as he screamed, and the crowd gasped collectively, witnessing the tragic turn of events. As the stretcher carried him away, his teammates prayed fervently, their hopes intertwined with the agony of uncertainty. At the hospital, the diagnosis crushed him. A torn ACL, shattered meniscus, and severe ligament damage marking the end of his dreams. The doctor's words cut like knives. His football career was over, and no surgery could restore him to full strength. The boy who once had the world at his feet was now broken, his future uncertain and dim. His father's cold response only deepened the wound. Standing tall and stern at his bedside, he said, "Forget football, Jacob." Jacob sat in his wheelchair, motionless, eyes fixed on the television screen, lost in a world of memories and regret. His hands trembled as he flipped through channels until he landed on a sports broadcast. His teammates were playing without him. The stadium roared with cheers, the same stadium where he once basked in glory. His chest tightened. His mood changed. Tears began to well up in his eyes. He tried to fight them, to hold on to what was left of his pride, but it was beyond him. The tears spilled one by one until they broke into uncontrollable sobs. He buried his face in his hands and wept bitterly, like a child robbed of everything. A soft knock came at the door. Jacob, it's your mom, please open up." He didn't answer. He couldn't. His whole body shook as his grief drowned out her voice. He pressed his palms against his ears as if shutting out the world. The silence enveloped him, heavy and oppressive, as memories flooded his mind. In that moment, he felt utterly alone, as if the world had moved on without him. Yet amidst the darkness, a flicker of hope lingered in his heart. He clung to that flicker, searching for a way to rise from the depths of The next morning, Jacob wheeled himself into the living room where his family was seated, his eyes swollen from the night's weeping, but nothing in his demeanor revealed the turmoil he felt inside. Silence clung to him like a shadow as he reached for something on the table, a bottle of water, but his hand couldn't stretch far enough. His mother and Wilson immediately rose to help, but Jacob snapped at them, frustration bubbling to the surface. "I'm fine," he shouted, his voice breaking, echoing the tension that filled the room. His mother's eyes brimmed with tears, reflecting the pain of her helplessness. In that moment, Jacob stopped pushing us away. "We are your family." Jacob gave a look as though he didn't care. Immediately, the door opened, and Dr. Philip, the family doctor, walked in behind him. Nurse Annabel followed. "Good morning," he turned to Jacob. "Good morning. How are you feeling this morning?" Dr. Phillips said, "I'm fine." Jacob answered reluctantly, even though he wasn't. "This is Nurse Annabel. She will be in charge of taking care of you from today." Jacob's room was dim morning light filtering weakly through half-drawn curtains, the air heavy with silence as he sat by the window staring blankly at the garden outside, his hands resting limply on the wheelchair's wheels. A soft knock came barely audible. "Mr. Jacob, may I come in?" He didn't answer. The door creaked open slowly. Annabel stepped in holding a tray with a small breakfast and some medications. She didn't rush, she didn't demand attention. She simply placed the tray on the table near him and stood quietly, hands clasped in front of her. "I won't stay long," she said softly. "I just thought maybe you'd like some breakfast?" Jacob's eyes flicked toward her, then back to the window. The silence in the room thickened. Annabel took a deep breath, gathering her thoughts before speaking again. "I know it's hard," she said, her voice gentle yet firm, "but it's important to eat and take your medications." She continued, a hint of urgency in her tone. Jacob's gaze finally shifted to the tray. "I'm not hungry," he finally spoke.
A few days later, it was in the afternoon, the sun casting warm streaks across Jacob's room, where he had barely moved from his chair by the window, arms crossed, eyes distant. A soft knock came again. "Jacob, I brought something for you." He didn't respond. The door opened slightly, and she stepped in, holding a small, worn football in her hands. Jacob's eyes flicked up, curiosity warring with his pride. Where did you get that?" he asked, a whisper breaking through his defense. "I saw it in the storage closet," Annabel said with a small smile. "I thought maybe it could remind you of better days. Just a little." Minutes passed in quiet as Annabel sat in the dimly lit room, her gaze fixed on Jacob, who seemed lost in his thoughts. Finally, Jacob muttered almost to himself, I miss it, football." "I know," Annabel said softly, "and it's okay to miss it. You don't have to pretend you're fine. Not here." He looked at her. There was no pity in her eyes, only understanding and gentleness. Jacob exhaled slowly. "I need to be alone for a moment," he said softly. "Oh, that's fine. I'll see you in a few hours." She smiled at him and left immediately. That evening, Jacob remained in his wheelchair, staring at the muted glow of the television. The room was quiet except for the occasional hum of the fridge. He clutched the football Annabel had brought earlier, spinning it absently in his hands. The door opened quietly. Annabel stepped in, carrying a small cup of tea. "I thought you might like something warm," she said softly. Jacob shifted the weight of his pride and pain mingling. I feel useless," he admitted, his voice low. Annabel leaned forward slightly, her tone calm, gentle. "You're not useless, Jacob. You're just hurt. And it's okay to feel that. Strength isn't always about doing. Sometimes it's about surviving the pain and letting others help you carry it." He swallowed hard, blinking rapidly to keep tears from spilling. Then surprisingly, he let out a small, bitter laugh. "Surviving? Yeah, that's all I'm good at now." Annabel allowed herself a faint, understanding smile. "Sometimes surviving is the first step toward thriving. And you're still here." Jacob's gaze fell to the football. Do you really think I could play again?" he asked quietly, almost afraid of the answer. "Yes," Annabel admitted honestly. "With God, all things are possible." "God?" he said curiously. "You are a believer." "Yes, I am, a Christian." "Tell me about your God," Jacob prompted, his curiosity peaked. For the first time, Jacob looked at her fully, really looked captivated by the depth of her words. Something was truly intriguing about what she was saying, like a mystery he couldn't explain. "I have heard he can do miracles, but never experienced it before. Your life is a sample for his miraculous experiment." He looked at her and said, "I want to experience this miracle. You have to give your life to him first. You have to become born again. You have to surrender to him." She waited for him to speak, but he kept quiet, so she then spoke. "It's a big decision. You can think it through. I'm going to sleep. See you tomorrow morning." "Wait," he said. "I want to become a Christian. What does it take?" She smiled joyfully. "Nothing, only your belief and your confession that Jesus is Lord, that he died for you to live. So let's do this. Just repeat after me. Lord Jesus, come into my life." The atmosphere around them felt charged with an unexplainable energy as he prepared to take this monumental step. As he repeated the words, a sense of peace washed over him, signaling the beginning of a new journey.